So the topic today is Division III players, Division III basketball players, and what a high school player needs to do or needs to be to even have a chance to play Division III. And I say this all the time. The statistics say that 94% of high school basketball players in America will not play any level of college basketball. So you got to be in the top 6% of kids to even have a chance to play Division III or Division I or II. But so this is a topic that people that's misunderstood because Division III players are just much better than people think. So to keep this cut and dry enough, if you are not starting on your high school basketball team, I mean, unless you are on some type of one of the best teams in the country with like a whole bunch of Division I players, if you're not starting on your team, you're probably not going to have a chance to even play Division III. And if you're starting, if you're not averaging double digits, most likely a safe number is probably about 15 points or more a game. If you're not doing that, you're probably not going to be able to play Division III basketball. The exception would be if you are tall. If you're like 6'6" and up, maybe 6'5" and up with a big body. That's different. You don't have to be, I had one coach tell me last year, I was trying to, get him on to two of my smaller guards. He wasn't interested in them, but he was like, hey, well, do you know any big kids at all? He said, even if they're not any good. I mean, those were his exact words. And I would say that's probably rings true for a lot of Division III programs. Not the best programs in the country, but a lot of them. Your average Division III program, they're looking for size over everything. And so that would be the one exception. But again, how many kids out there playing high school basketball are 6'6" or taller? So you got to be starting, and you have to be good. And if you're averaging 15 or more, you're pretty damn good. You're probably one of the best players in the league, and you're probably going to get accolades, and you're known as a good player. When people bring your name up, it's for sure. It's not a question. Like, everybody thinks you're good, and that's what I've been seeing. I know this stuff firsthand. Obviously, I played Division III basketball, but just dealing with kids the last couple years and dealing with coaches, that's what they want. They're not interested in no regular Joes. Like, I think people have an idea that, even if you're a bench player, you average like 6 points a game, that you could just play Division III basketball. Coaches aren't taking those kids. That they're not taking those players. That's not going to cut it because, another thing people don't understand about D3 basketball is let's say the top 25 or the top 35 programs in the country that are ranked at that for that year, most of those kids are not really like fresh out of high school Division III talent. Those are kids who have transferred, and before the transfer portal was a thing, even before then, the best Division III programs, those were put together of like a bunch of different transfers, kids coming down from either Division I, Division II, or JUCO kids in some way. But your top 7 or 8 guys on the Division III team, those are the kids who really get in the game, play the bulk of the minutes. I would say half of those kids are probably on the best programs. Half those kids are transfers that are coming down. So the kids who actually get on the floor and impact the game, those are not really Division II or Division III talents. They're probably Division I or II talent, but there are a whole lot of different things that go into why a kid ends up at what division and what he can actually perform at. So when you put all those things together, you come up with a lot of kids who, quote unquote, fall through the cracks and end up playing Division III, but they just as well could play Division I, depending on the program. So you're competing with that. Like, so if you're just some regular Joe kid in high school, and not only are you already regular Joe, but you're young too. So how are you going to compete with a kid who transferred from Division I and he's 20? That's what people don't understand. So if you want to compete with those kids, yeah, you got to be good, man. You can't be a regular Joe. You got to be one of the best kids around. Those are the kids that are going to play Division III. And the ones that go off to play Division II or I, they're a little bit more exceptional. Most probably with their size and athleticism. For the most part, I have a kid right now. He's only a sophomore, but he's little. He's like 5'9", 5'8", 155 pounds. Probably the most confident, the most skilled, and definitely the quickest, the fastest, probably the quickest, fastest kid. Probably, of those 3 categories, he'd be at the top. But the feedback that we've got so far, now he's still young, but the feedback right now it's gonna take a unique coach. It's gonna take a unique situation and program who feels like they can take him on at a Division I program. He's probably a Division II player just because of that size. And shit, I don't even know. That's not a given. He might still play Division III. It's not a given. But compare him to your average high school kid. He is so much better, it's not even close. I mean, the boy scored over 1,000 points halfway through his sophomore year. And I'm trying to paint the picture for people to really understand that is a Division III talent. You know what I mean? That is a Division III player. Those are kids who have proved to be in the upper echelon of high school basketball. And, if you're not that and you have a dream of playing college, one, you need to get realistic. You cannot reach your goals and dreams without being realistic, in this scenario right here. If you're still thinking you're going to play D1 and you don't even start on an average high school team, there's no way that's helping your progression because your mental is messed up. So you're not going about things in the right perspective. So there's no way you're getting the most out of your work and your development and your day-to-day stuff that you do in basketball when you're completely out of touch with reality. So you have to understand what level you are currently. Then you got to figure out a way to get in that upper echelon. You need to start on your team, and you need to go in there and be, basically the best, or let's say top 3 if you have a good team. You got to be in the top 3 kids on your team if you want to play Division III ball. And there's no knock in Division III ball. That it's an amazing. Again, you're in the 6%, man. You're not gonna know many people in your entire life who you grew up with or around who went out there and played Division III basketball. So, I hope that gives some perspective to what the player is. And again, there is always nuance. There's always small things that can slide around and reasons as to why kids don't necessarily fit that mold or that picture that I just laid out. That always happens. And it's funny when people always want to look at those things. Well, what if this or what if this? Come on, you have to be realistic about what you're doing if you want to have the best chance to do what you're trying to do. If you want to go off some fucking miracle with ridiculous odds, then hey, go ahead, man. But it's probably not going to work out for you. So, work your butt off. Spend as much time as you possibly can on your game. Continue to just, and whatever that means. That might mean playing games. It might mean pick up stuff. It might mean working with a trainer. It might mean working on your own. It probably means do all of that. Do as much of that as you can, and because you have to try to just get prepared for that high school team and for those high school seasons, because that's the other thing. This is the last thing I'm going to hit on this topic is, in order to play Division III basketball, you in our area, in Western Pennsylvania, you do not need to play AAU either, because they're showing up. Your local Division III schools, they're showing up to your high school games basically all year. So, you don't need to go play on an AAU team for Division III coaches to see you. Would it help if you're playing well? Yeah, it probably would. But it's not like you have to. But what you do have to do is, when they show up to those high school games, you better be starting and you better be good, because that's going to be the best sample size for them, because they can see you the most. They're local. That's a whole nother topic, but local coaches, and within a 40-minute drive of you, they can show up and watch you the most, which means they can evaluate you the best. So if that's who's showing up to you, if they're showing up to your high school games the majority of the time, those people recruiting you, that's what you have to be ready to put your eggs in that basket. I'm ready for these Division III coaches when they show up to watch me at my high school games, and it's time to perform. So hope that gives people a clear idea of what a D3 player is and how they might have to go about trying to get there to become a D3 player themselves.